Hey guys, it's Yevgeny here with No Code Genius, and today we want to do something a bit different. Well, it's not really different. It is still a clonable that I have been developing, but it is my first personally developed website ever. And what does that mean? Well, it means that obviously it's not my first site that I've ever developed, but it is my first site that I've completed on my own with little help. So obviously this is not it, but this is a website based on which I have developed mine. It's called cosmos.network, and it's actually already a site that exists. And you'll be able to see that this site is actually not created using Webflow. This is a custom-made website, and you can take a look by running what runs. And here you'll see the tools that they used for development. In my site, you'll see that in the stack there is Webflow. So yeah, in this website, you'll be able to see that there are a few things different. Well, obviously, some time has passed ever since I developed this, but they have changed quite a bit. The first one is the bar at the top. You'll see it's sticky constantly. There's the secondary button. They have also removed the video thumbnail on the site and added the chat bot. Pardon me. Another thing you'll notice, well, if you take a look at my site side by side, you'll see that this site is a bit, well, how should I put it? It's a bit static. Well, it's fairly good, don't get me wrong, but I find it a bit lacking in terms of, yeah, the design is very cool, but I feel like it's lacking a bit. These are also two cars that were not there when I developed the site, so you will not find these in my site. But you'll see that all of the animations are CSS animations and they're fairly basic. You won't see anything too fancy going on here. There's change in color, and that's pretty much that. Um, so yeah, let's take a look at the site that I have developed. I reloaded for the sake of animations. So first thing first, as an overview, I want you to know the first thing, which is the parallax effect on mouse move. Now, I wouldn't say this is a good practice for the reason that JavaScript is memory intensive. It is a bit heavy. And when you have mouse move interaction that affects quite a few elements, it is not great. It is pretty cool though, because planets do float, and one planet being on behind the words, the second planet being above. That's pretty cool, I must say. Another thing, the navigation. Well, this was not made with drop-down element. These were used, like for this navigation, I used a bunch of div blocks and I tried practicing positioning. So position relative, position absolute, those types of things. Now, I realized this website would be something that I developed in order to test my abilities, and the abilities that I want to test are the layout and the positioning. Now we have some fixed, we have some fixed with animation, we have cool navigation. So let's go over those. So this video was there initially, and while you scroll, once you enter a new section, this one will basically hide, or once you exit the hero section. Another thing, this navigation was customly made. Initially, I made it as two navigation components, but that is a horrible SEO practice. And I actually, before releasing this site as a clonable, I have touched it up, and now it has proper SEO structure. It is more dynamic, so you've seen the count up feature. And this is an animation. You see that this navigation is transparent. After 5 pixels, it disappears. And after 150% of viewport height scrolled, it reappears, but now it's blurred background. All right, another thing is you'll see these coins appearing on the side. That's something I made. So you'll see a bunch of those. once you scroll in, you'll see that these cards are being animated slightly. They are losing in opacity. So now you are able to see through them. Once you hover, you're able to see the gradients and the lines, those types of things. Another thing you'll see is that this gradient is working as a star, but if you scroll slowly, you'll see that it is on scroll, it's kind of expanding a bit and collapsing. So that way, the site's texture is feeling a bit more vibrant, or that's what I was trying to achieve. Another thing that's pretty cool is I'm having this CSS animations. Now, why am I saying that those are CSS? Well, because using JavaScript would be a waste for them. And obviously, in CSS, in Webflow's native CSS, you cannot target the child element. But in custom CSS, you can. So that's what I did. So yeah, these things are a bit different. I'm probably going to make these icons, probably going to make these icons change the color as well when you hover. So these are all CSS animations. This is the same way CSS, so is this, and so is this. So these are pretty cool, and let me get into the build. All right, we are now in my Webflow account, and first thing you'll see is, okay, we have the navigation, you have the hero section, you have the planets. So let's start from the beginning, the navigation. So how in the name of God did I, how did I make this navigation to be animated like that? And you'll be able to see, hey, there is only one navigation, there is nothing else. So let's get into that. Basically, I did it with the script, and here it is. So I'm targeting navigation or nav, and I'm actually having two extra classes, show and hide, that are combo classes of nav. Once, so I'm waiting for certain events, which are scroll events, and once the window is scrolled on y-axis, which is the vertical, this is what happens. If the scroll position is larger than 5 pixels, I'm going to add this hide combo class, which is gonna take the navigation and hide it, or like move it upwards. And otherwise, you're gonna remove that class. So if we're back on top, like so, it's going to make it reappear. Now, the second thing that I did is, okay, once the scroll position reaches 150 viewport height, or 1.5 times the window height, I'm going to add this show combo class, which has this background blur. And it's now coming back down where you can see it, and it's removing the hide class. So this is removing this one, and it's adding this one. Otherwise, in all other events, it's literally just hiding show. So basically, now with this, there is a certain gap where you don't have, but okay, initially you have navigation. Now you have a gap where you don't have any navigation. And eventually you're going to reach a point where, once again, you do have the navigation and you have it all the way through the site. All right, the next thing that I will want to show you are some of the CSS animations. So you'll see that this red dot is expanding and collapsing even in the designer. Now, how did I make this? This is something that I do with CSS animations. So take a look, there is this red dot, there's this red dot constant, and there is this HTML embed in which you'll be able to see the whole animation. So the animation is targeting the red dot. It's called dot, moving forwards, lasting 1.5 second. Its easing is set to ease and out, and it is running infinitely. Here are the keyframes of this animation. At 0%, the opacity is at 0.7, so 70%, and the scale is downscaled to 0.8, so 80% of the normal scale. At the 2/3, or 66.66%, the opacity is increased to 1, The transform so the dot is scaled to 1.15 times of its original size, and eventually it returns to its initial state. There we go. So these two are the same. A red dot constant is a bit different. It's affecting the same aspects, but now you see that 33.33, so one third and two thirds. And what does this do? So basically, you'll see that this is doing the same thing as this, but opacity is zero, so 0%. It's fully transparent, and scale is zero. At 33%, the opacity increases to one. So from 0 to 33%, its opacity increases to 1 and transforms to be 1 in scale. And that means that it is the normal size. And that this state lasts until the two-thirds of the animation is done. Then it returns to its initial state at 100% or at the end of the animation. Now, what else can I show you? All right. So the count up was created in two ways. The first way you'll see, so basically these are text spans, but if you click D or settings, you'll be able to see that there are some attributes added. And that's the reason is that I created this through using FinSuite attributes. And here's the script or a CDN, and it's using number count.js. And I'm literally selecting a number. I'm telling through the attributes, hey, this element is a number. The duration of this count up animation should be 1500, and that is in milliseconds, meaning that it's 1.5 seconds long, and you'll be able to see that for everything. And the threshold where the animation begins, so the animation begins once you're 5% from the bottom of the screen, so it's in view already. So here's nothing special, also custom CSS animations for moving arrows. You have some pop-ups, so once you click on the dotted dotted underlined text, you'll be able to see these pop-ups. And yeah, let me see what else can I show you. All right, these animations were actually also custom, but custom CSS, but it's not complex. I don't think that they are here, but in case, okay, they're not here, so they're in other place, but these animations will not pose problematic after I show you other CSS animations. The only count up that I did differently is this one, and it's not a good practice. And I'll tell you why. So this is using another CDN. So let me show you. The CDN is using jQuery. This can be actually deleted for the fact that Webflow actually supports jQuery, but you have waypoints and you have jQuery counterup min.js. Why this is not a good use case? Well, whenever you are having your own web app, and you would probably want to host this elsewhere, so your web applications and your marketing sites are hosted on different servers, and that's actually the best practice. But some companies actually host them in one server. Now, what happens is this CDN is actually creating vulnerabilities in your site. And the vulnerabilities I'm talking about are DOS and DDoS. And for those of you who don't know, certain DDoSs can actually shut down banking systems, such as Frozen or something else. But this is not a lesson in cybersecurity. I'm just telling you that this is not the best practice, but I used it because it was just close by, so I grabbed the script. So here's the script. It is jQuery. So it's targeting the class counter, and then it counter-ups. Delays by 20 seconds or milliseconds, and time of the animation is 1500 milliseconds, which is 1.5 seconds. And I use this because the FinSuite's method does not support decimals, but only integers, and this is a decimal number. All right, now back to the most important part, in my opinion, are these CSS animations. So you can click on the card once you're in the clonable, and you can literally take a look at how I did it. I took the card background black, and when I hover over it and inside we have the icon fundraising one, you're going to transform this to zero point 0.9. And the same thing with the second card. We're going to transform it to scale zero point 0.9 and rotate it by 35 degrees. So this is what happens. This one is rotating by 35 degrees. You'll be able to see a bunch of these animations done in a similar manner. So this one, for example, rotate minus 20 degrees, scale to 0 0.8. So that's the animation. Um, Another thing you'll probably notice is these animations. Now, these are a bit more complex, or this one is the most complex, I'd say, but let's go one by one. So the first one being this one. Once the card black background black is hovered, we're going to give it opacity 0.8. And once it is hovered and inside we have absolute welcome image is 3, you're going to translate this one to for VW and for VH. So that means that you're moving this for VW to the right, 4% of viewport width and 4% of viewport height. So this is moving to the right, this is moving to the bottom. And we're talking about this planet, obviously. Now, this second one is a bit more complex just for the reason that it has more things going on. We have the same thing, a car background black hover, it becomes, it gets the opacity of zero point 0.8, but actually we can delete it for the reason that we already added this in our previous one, but I'm not going to at this point of time. Okay, what happens to the first coin? So the same thing, we are hovering on this asset. Within this asset, we have discover coin 1, discover coin 2, discover coin 3, and so on and so forth. So we translate the coin, we rotate the coin, and we scale the coin. So translating one viewport, so 1% of viewport width to the right, 10% of viewport height to the bottom. It does not rotate, or no, actually it does rotate because initial state was different, and it scales to 1.2. Same thing here, but different moving aspects, and same here without the scale, but also same moving aspects. There we go. This one is same as the first one. You'll be able to see that there is an embed and also just transforms in terms of translate. So it moves to the right and to the bottom. That's pretty much it. So yeah, this is my first build. I hope you liked it. In case you do, please clone this. And in case you did like the video, make sure to like it and subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you in the next one.